California's raging wildfires. A rising chorus of voices have appeared in the media, blaming climate change for the loss of life and devastation. Here to set us straight is the director of the CO2 Coalition, Gregory Wrightstone. Greg, it's good to talk with you again, so please share your thoughts with us on these claims that the out-of-control, destructive wildfires in Southern California are the result of climate change.
Well, that's positively false. And what they're claiming is because of man-made warming from too much CO2 in our emissions, that we're seeing unusual temperature increases and drought, and that's leading to these fires in California. But if you look at the facts, the science, and the data, that just it's not supported at all. And in fact, we just looked at these fires started on January 9th, and we went back to 1943 and looked at the 30-day period from December 9th to January 9th over the last 60 years, and found that actually precipitation has been increasing, not decreasing, during that 30-day period. We also see that this claim of drying up of California, we've seen 2 years of what's unusual, or the rainfall that's occurred over the preceding year and a half or 2 years. And what that has done is driven a large increase in grasses and shrubs and arroyo that are now, once they dry out, this is just like they're waiting for a spark to go up. So we have a huge amount of the grasses, and the dryness we've seen recently is really just a return to the normal conditions of an arid Southern California. What's been unusual has been the rainfall of the last year and a half or 2 years. And so when they claim about a man-made driven fires, it's partially man-made, but it's not climate change. The problems we have are management. We see it when we go into forests, it's forest management. We see in these suburban and urban areas, it's managing the grasses and shrubs in that area to keep the fire from spreading so quickly. The leading cause of this that exacerbated this were, of course, the Santa Ana winds that reached close to 100 miles an hour at its peak, which might be the highest wind speed we've seen in 10 years in that area. So even if they had the water available to fight them, winds at that speed would be nearly impossible to stop. And we've just published a commentary this morning on our website, the co2coalition.org, by our fire expert, Jim Steele, who lives in San Diego. He's a true California fire expert. He talks a lot about 1-hour fuels and 10-hour fuels. And these 1-hour fuels are the grasses. According to him, we could have a rainfall in the morning, and then when these Santa Ana winds come through, it can dry those grasses and shrubs out within 60 minutes or less. And it's ready to go up in flames, even if you had rain 60 minutes prior. He also talks about 10-hour fuels, which are the bigger branches and things like that. But again, these can dry out in less than a day with these Santa Ana winds. And so there's really nothing related to climate change. In fact, if you look at the CAL FIRE numbers, which I did, CAL FIRE number of fires in California has been declining. And we see that across the United States. We see continental United States wildfires, both area burned and number of fires has decreased over the last 90 years. And that's not something they put out there. If you go to the National Interagency Fire Center, they'll show you a chart from 1983 on and claim of an increase. What they do is hide the data. They have data going back to 1926. They don't show that. Why? Because there were 5 times as many acres burned and 5 times as many fires as there have been in the last several decades.
Well, let's talk about the rest of the nation then, because at the same time, we've seen heavy snow in the mountains, colder temperatures earlier this winter season in many places across the country, including the South. So would that suggest global cooling? A UCLA study, remember a UCLA study several years ago suggested global warming is causing a cooling in the stratosphere. So what's the truth here?
Well, you got to get your head right, Gary, because you haven't caught on to the latest lingo, and that is climate whiplash. that climate change induced by our emissions of CO2 was leading to these rapid changes from high temperatures to very low temperatures and a lot of rainfall to no rainfall. I read about this for the first time last week, climate whiplash, and it's because of our emissions of CO2. But Gary, the true story is that my latest book is A Very Convenient Warming, and in it I capture that by almost every metric, Earth's ecosystems are thriving and prospering, and the human condition is improving. And that's because of warming and more CO2. We should celebrate that. Here at the CO2 Coalition, our unofficial motto is "We love CO2, and so should you." There are a lot of good things that are associated with increasing carbon dioxide.
Okay, Gregory Wrightstone, CO2 Coalition Director. As always, it's good to talk to you. Thank you for setting us straight.
Thank you.